The Labour Party are at it again. Yesterday, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak was asked a question from a Labour MP called Miss Belle Ribeiro Addy, who asked that he apologise for Britain's role in the transatlantic slave trade and demand that reparations are paid to those who were affected by slavery in the past, which is a bit of an odd question to ask, because I'm pretty sure that those who are alive today were never slaves. Now, this is something that appears to crop up every now and then among Labour Party MPs, and it makes you wonder, yet again, how these MPs even get elected when it seems they don't even know what it is that they're talking about. Now, I would have a few questions for Miss Addy. I think they're very reasonable questions, because when we talk about slavery, we are talking about a time when slavery was considered normal. That doesn't make it right. By today's standards, it isn't right. But back then, it was considered normal. Now, the questions that I have for her is, first of all, is she aware that it was the British Empire that ended slavery? Is she aware that the British Empire lost thousands of men in the Royal Navy who died to free slaves from the transatlantic slave trade? Is she aware of that? Is she aware that the British Empire spent so much of its time, wealth and resources ending slavery? Is she aware of that? Is she aware that one of the most prominent and successful slave traders in the 19th century was a lady, Madam Tinubu from Nigeria, who continued to sell slaves to the Brazilians and Europeans even after the British Empire banned it in Nigeria and banned it in its territories? Is she aware that she continued to sell slaves to the point where the British Empire was forced to step in and stop her from doing it? Is she aware of this? Is she aware that from the 1500s onwards, slavery was not exclusive to black people? Thousands upon thousands of people from the coast of Devon and Cornwall were kidnapped by Barbary slave pirates and sold to Morocco, where they never made it home. They never made it out alive. There was no one to fight for them and to free them. Is she aware of that? Is she aware that slavery has been going on everywhere for a very, very long time? And finally, why in the world would she think that it's acceptable to demand that the British taxpayer pays reparations for something that happened in the past? How is that fair? And how is that acceptable? I think that these questions are very fair. And I think that Miss Addy and those like her within the Labour Party who think that we should be paying for something that happened in the past, and who think that slavery was exclusive to Britain and that Britain should be paying today for what happened in the past, I would like to know the answers to these questions. Because I think anyone who knows their history and does their research will come to realise that when you are posing these questions to the Prime Minister, deliberately causing racial divide by doing so, deliberately painting an entire group of people as victims and another group of people as oppressors, when you haven't even done your research or your history, as is clear from the fact that you appear not to know this stuff, because if you did, why would you ask the questions in the first place? I think that any MP who asks this question needs to go away and do their research. I also think that if you're an MP, you should do your research before you even ask something like this. And I believe that it is embarrassing for anyone in a position of power to display such ignorance. And I would encourage everybody to go and do their research on this subject, because when we have these race baiters in Parliament trying to create divide, trying to peddle an agenda which is totally wrong and unfair, and not even showing an ounce of gratitude to the one country who stood up and did something about the transatlantic slave trade, that's a disgrace.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.